Quotes from John Piper. From the Kindle, Deep Christian Quotes and Bible Verses. First quote. But whatever you do, find the God-centered, Christ-exalting, Bible-saturated passion of your life, and find your way to say it and live for it and die for it. And you will make a difference that lasts. You will not waste your life. Second quote. Missions is not the ultimate goal of the church. Worship is. Missions exists because worship doesn't. Third quote. God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in Him. Fourth quote. Grace is the pleasure of God, to magnify the worth of God, by giving sinners the right and power to delight in God, without obscuring the glory of God. Fifth quote. We weren't meant to be somebody. We were meant to know somebody. Sixth quote. Christ did not die to forgive sinners who go on treasuring anything above seeing and savoring God. And people who would be happy in heaven if Christ were not there, will not be there. The gospel is not a way to get people to heaven. It is a way to get people to God. It's a way of overcoming every obstacle to everlasting joy in God. If we don't want God above all things, we have not been converted by the gospel. Seventh quote. Don't follow a defeated foe. Follow Christ. It is costly. You will be in exile in this age. But you will be free. Eighth quote. It is about the greatness of God, not the significance of man. God made man small and the universe big to say something about Himself. Ninth quote. Grace is not simply leniency when we have sinned. Grace is the enabling gift of God not to sin. Grace is power, not just pardon. 10th quote. If you live gladly to make others glad in God, your life will be hard, your risks will be high, and your joy will be full. 11th quote. You get one pass at life. That's all. Only one. And the lasting measure of that life is Jesus Christ. 12th quote. The strength of patience hangs on our capacity to believe that God is up to something good for us, in all our delays and detours. 13th quote. God created us for this, to live our lives in a way that makes Him look more like the greatness and the beauty and the infinite worth that He really is. This is what it means to be created in the image of God. 14th quote. One of the great uses of Twitter and Facebook will be to prove at the last day that prayerlessness was not from lack of time. 15th quote. If you alter or obscure the biblical portrait of God in order to attract converts, you don't get converts to God, you get converts to an illusion. This is not evangelism, but deception. 16th quote. If you don't feel strong desires for the manifestation of the glory of God, it is not because you have drunk deeply and are satisfied. It is because you have nibbled so long at the table of the world. Your soul is stuffed with small things, and there is no room for the great. 17th quote. The critical question for our generation, and for every generation, is this: if you could have heaven, with no sickness, and with all the friends you ever had on earth, and all the food you ever liked, and all the leisure activities you ever enjoyed, and all the natural beauties you ever saw, all the physical pleasures you ever tasted, and no human conflict or any natural disasters, could you be satisfied with heaven, if Christ were not there? 18th quote. Christ did not die to make good works merely possible or to produce a half-hearted pursuit. He died to produce in us a passion for good deeds. Christian purity is not the mere avoidance of evil, but the pursuit of good. Thanks.